And that same night, his parents prepared him for a journey that would change everything forever. But unlike Chinedum, Maureen here, still on our story, in the Orphan, episode 5. Let's dive in. Morning sunlight spread across the village slowly, but inside Uncle Enyinnya's compound, excitement filled the air. Mama Oriaku moved around happily, preparing food. Fresh yam boiled inside the clay pot. Delicious soup filled the room with aroma. Fried meat rested on a tray nearby. Everything inside the house looked different. Not because peace suddenly entered the family, but because greed had taken control completely. Enyinnaya sat proudly on a wooden stool, while his mother served him carefully. "Eat very well," she said lovingly. "You must be strong for the journey." Enyinnaya smiled proudly. "Mama, when I return, our family will become the richest in the whole village." Oriaku clapped happily. "Yes, richer than Chinedum." Everybody laughed except Uncle Enyinnaya. Although greed burned inside him, fear also remained hidden somewhere deep within his heart. He could still remember what happened when he touched Chinedum's treasure. The shame before the villagers. Even now, his fingers still hurt slightly. But each time he remembered the gold and diamonds, greed quickly swallowed his fear again. He looked at his son carefully. "When you reach the forest," he said seriously, "do exactly what Chinedum did." Enyinnaya nodded carelessly while eating meat. "Yes, father." "You must respect the old woman." "Yes, father." "Do not offend her." Enyinnaya rolled his eyes slightly. "I heard you." Mama Oriaku quickly interrupted. "My son is wise. He will return with even greater blessings." Meanwhile, outside the compound, Chinedum quietly fetched water from the village stream. Ever since his return from the forest, villagers treated him differently. People greeted him warmly. Some even offered him food. Children followed him around curiously. But despite everything, Chinedum remained humble. The old woman's words never left his heart. "Do not allow suffering to turn your heart wicked." Sometimes he still wondered who she truly was. A normal old woman, a forest protector, or something greater. Even now, whenever he remembered how she disappeared inside the forest, goosebumps covered his body. Later that afternoon, several villagers gathered under the Nuku tree, discussing Chinedum's miracle. "I still cannot believe it," one man said. "The boy returned from the forbidden stream with treasure." An elderly woman shook her head slowly. "That child suffered greatly. Perhaps heaven finally remembered him." Another villager lowered his voice carefully. "But why did the treasure reject Uncle Enyinnaya?" Silence entered the gathering briefly. Then Papa Nana spoke quietly. "Blessings do not always follow greed." The villagers nodded thoughtfully. Just then, they noticed Enyinnaya walking proudly across the village, carrying a lantern, food, bag, and empty calabash. Immediately, whispers spread everywhere. "Where is he going? Surely not the forbidden stream." Papa Nana's face darkened. He already suspected what was happening. Greed was sending another child into danger. Back inside the compound, Mama Oriaku adjusted Enyinnya's clothes carefully. "Remember," she whispered, "whatever Chinedum received, you must receive more. Enyinnaya grinned proudly. Do not worry, Mama. Unlike Chinedum, Enyinnaya showed no fear, no humility, no uncertainty, only pride. Before leaving, he walked towards Chinedum arrogantly. The orphan boy stood quietly beside the gate. So, Enyinnaya smirked. You thought you would become special alone. Chinedum looked at him calmly. Please be careful in the forest. Enyinnaya laughed loudly. You are warning me? He stepped closer proudly. If you return with treasures, imagine what I will return with. Chinedum suddenly remembered the old woman's face. Then, quietly he said, the forest is not ordinary. Enyinnaya scoffed. Stop pretending like you are important. Then he walked away proudly. Chinedum watched him disappear down the road, and strangely, a deep fear entered his heart. Evening slowly covered the village. Dark clouds gathered above the sky, the same way they gathered the night Chinedum entered the forest. Enyinnaya walked confidently along the lonely path, carrying his lantern. Unlike Chinedum, he was not afraid. In fact, he almost enjoyed the journey. He kicked stones carelessly while whistling proudly. These villagers fear too much, he muttered. The deeper he entered the forest, the stranger the atmosphere became. Tall trees blocked the moonlight. Cold wind moved through the bushes. Strange sounds echoed from distant places, but Enyinnaya ignored everything. Suddenly, a voice called softly from the darkness, "My child." Enyinnaya stopped immediately. The lantern flickered slightly. Again, the voice came, "My child." This time, the old woman slowly appeared beneath the giant tree, exactly where Chinedum first met her. She looked tired, peaceful, quiet, just as before. The old woman smiled gently. You have traveled far. Enyinnaya looked her up and down carelessly. So you are the old woman? The woman nodded slowly. Yes. Enyinnaya smirked proudly. I came for my own blessings. The old woman studied him silently. Unlike Chinedum, this boy carried arrogance like clothing. Still, she spoke kindly. You must be tired. Enyinnaya shrugged. A little. The old woman pointed towards the firewood beside her. My child, please help me carry this home. Immediately, Enyinnaya burst into laughter. The sound echoed harshly through the forest. You want me to carry firewood? The woman remained calm. My legs are weak. Enyinnaya laughed again. You old cargo. The woman became silent. How do you expect someone like me to carry ordinary firewood? The old woman looked at him carefully. Someone like you? Enyinnaya raised his shoulders proudly. Do you know who I am? The woman said nothing. My father owns lands everywhere in this village. Still, she remained silent. You should be carrying things for me instead. The old woman slowly lowered her eyes. Then, quietly, she said, all right, my son. Immediately, Enyinnaya frowned angrily. Do not call me your son. The woman looked up slowly. I mean no harm. My mother is in the village. I do not know you. For several seconds, Silence filled the forest. Then, unexpectedly, the old woman smiled gently again. No problem. Her kindness strangely annoyed Enyinnaya even more. Then she spoke softly. If you are hungry, I have food at home. Immediately, his expression changed. Food? Yes. What kind? Enough to satisfy a traveler. Enyinnaya quickly adjusted his bag. Now we are talking properly, he said proudly. Lead the way. The journey towards the hut began quietly. Unlike Chinedum, Enyinnaya never once thanked the woman. Instead, he complained throughout the journey. This forest smells strange. These paths are dirty. How much farther? The old woman simply continued walking quietly. Eventually, they arrived at the small hut. Warm light glowed softly through the windows. The smell of delicious food filled air. Enyinnaya immediately pushed past the old woman and entered first. His eyes widened at the sight of food. Without permission, he grabbed roasted meat immediately. The old woman watched silently. Then she slowly placed more food before him. Enyinnaya ate greedily. Soup dripped across his mouth. He barely spoke politely. At one point, he even snapped impatiently. Bring more meat. The old woman quietly obeyed. Outside the hut, cold wind moved through the trees. Strangely, the forest itself seemed to be watching. Days began passing inside the forest hut. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Unlike Chinedum, Enyinnaya never helped the woman. He refused to watch. He refused to fetch firewood, refused to clean, refused to assist with cooking. Instead, he slept long hours and demanded food constantly. Yet, the old woman never argued. She simply watched him quietly. Sometimes her eyes became sad. Other times they became unreadable. Meanwhile, back in the village, Mama Oriaku celebrated confidently. My son will soon return with greater treasures. Oriaku danced excitedly. Even Uncle Ezani began smiling again. Only Chinedum remained worried. Every night he remembered the old woman's warning. That depends on the heart standing around you. And somehow, deep inside, he feared Enyinnaya did not understand the danger ahead. On the seventh night, heavy wind blew across the forest. Inside the hut, Enyinnaya stretched lazily after eating. So he said proudly, tomorrow you will give me my treasures. The old woman stared into the fire quietly. Tomorrow, she answered softly. Enyinnaya grinned. Good. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. The old woman slowly lifted her eyes towards him. Then, for the first time, her face became unusually serious. When blessings come to a person, Enyinnaya barely listened. The heart receiving them matters greatly. The boy waved dismissively. Yes, yes. But the old woman continued staring at him carefully, and for one brief moment, a strange sadness crossed her face. Morning finally arrived. Dark clouds still covered the forest. The old woman carried 2 calabashes quietly. Come, she said. Enyinnaya followed proudly. Soon they reached the forbidden stream. Just like Chinedum, Enyinnaya became surprised by its beauty. So this is the famous stream. The old woman entered the water silently. Again, the stream glowed softly around her feet. But unlike Chinedum, Enyinnaya noticed only one thing: treasure. His eye widened greedily. "Yes," he whispered. "Yes." The old woman filled the calabashes carefully. Then she handed him one covered calabash. "Do not open it until you reach home." Enyinnaya grabbed it excitedly, and inside, the woman looked directly into his eyes. What waits inside follows the heart carrying it. Enyinnaya barely listened, his mind already filled with gold, diamonds, silver, wealth, power. He laughed proudly. "When I return, everybody will bow to me." The old woman remained silent. Then, quietly, she whispered, "We shall see." The end of the episode. But wait, what truly waited inside Enyinnaya's calabash? Would Enyinnaya receive the same blessing Chinedum received? And why did the old woman suddenly look sorrowful while watching him leave the forbidden stream? All these questions will be answered in the next episode. So join us so that you don't miss the next episode. Thanks for watching. Till then.